Hi BookTube, Sarah here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with another weekly reading vlog. Today is the 29th of March, and it's about 1:30 in the afternoon. It is a Sunday, and it is a lazy Sunday. I mean, kind of like most of the days have been over the last little while. Like a lot of you, I am doing the stay home thing, and I am not at work this week. I wasn't at work last week. I'm not going to be at work this week, and it's touch and go whether I'm going to be at work the next week. Just because we do not know how long, you cannot put a date on when this pandemic, when it might be safe again and things like that. So I'm not risking my health. And unfortunately, the nature of the job that I do and the business itself is that I cannot work from home. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm going to enjoy this little bit of time off. I mentioned in my last vlog that we are taking a little bit of a financial hit for this. But that's okay. We're perfectly fine. Financially, we're going to be absolutely okay. And I have no worries on that aspect. As long as we don't go crazy and spend a whole bunch of money. You know what I mean? But that's okay. Everything's closed anyway, so I can't shop. And everything on Amazon, like if I wanted to shop on Amazon, they don't charge you until the item ships. And a lot of stuff is being really delayed in shipping. So, because Amazon's big priority is getting out the essentials to people, which I think is fantastic. But that's why we have Kindle books, because those are instantaneous, right, guys? So, I am here, of course, on Sunday. I like to sit down with you guys and share my reading plans for the week. As I mentioned in my last vlog, what I'm going to try and do in this vlog this week, because my last two vlogs have been close to an hour and a half each, is I am only going to do updates when I've finished reading a book. I'm going to do this beginning part of the vlog, and I'm going to do my last clip on Saturday where I kind of, talk about my reading. And in that one, I'm probably going to get more into the day-to-day stuff. I have some things that I'm probably going to be sharing with you guys later in the vlog. It'll be later in the week for me, because there's some changes that are happening and they are good. But I'm just, trying to get all my ducks in a row before I start saying too much, and putting it out there online, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's positive. It's good stuff. But I'll probably just do a little chatty weekly wrap up at the end, the last clip of the vlog, along with showing you guys my knitting and that stuff too. But yeah, like I said, I like to share with you guys at the beginning here what my reading plans are for the week. And as I always like to say in my caveat for this is, when I say for the week, I mean before, like, everything I'm going to read from Sunday to Saturday. So I have two books that I'm currently already started. And the first one, my audiobook, is called Murder on Fifth Avenue, and this is by Victoria Thompson. This is, I think, the 14th book in the A Gaslight Mystery series, which is a kind of a cozy mystery series. It's not classified as that on Goodreads, but I would consider it to be cozy because, well, you do have an actual New York City detective. This takes place, it's a historical mystery as well. It takes place at the turn of the century in New York City, of course. And it is a New York City detective, but he has a helper whose name is Sarah, and she's a midwife, so she's kind of like an amateur sleuth. So it's kind of a cozy mystery. Anyway, in this one, a man is found dead in his gentleman's club, and they're trying to find out the whodunit. I started it today. I'm about 35% of the way through it on audio. It's not a terribly long audiobook, just under 9 hours. So I will get that one definitely done before the end of the month. It is the last audiobook that I need to read this month. The other book that I am currently reading is, oh my gosh, I'm totally drawing a blank. Oh my gosh, I'm so bad. Hold on one second, you guys. I can see the cover in my head. It's by Ella Quinn. The Most Eligible Lord in London by Ella Quinn. Just took me a minute. Sorry, guys. I clearly need a bit more coffee. So, this one so far, I am not very far into this one. I have not picked this one up over the last few days. Not because I'm not wanting to, but because I've been kind of reading other things. And this one is about a guy, a gentleman, excuse me, who is back in London for the season, and he needs to find a wife. And last year he kind of took off partway through the season because he was courting a girl and then realized very quickly that they were not suitable. That this woman, as he said in the thing, this is not who he wanted to spend the rest of his life with, looking at over the breakfast table, essentially. I mean, he wasn't rude about it. He wasn't saying that she was a horrible person. She just wasn't right for him, which is totally understandable. But he's now, you know, tucked his tail between his legs, kind of an idea, and come back to London. And, you know, one of the first scenes in the book is this girl has snubbed him, but she has a friend. And the friend thinks he's kind of, you know, good looking, but, you know, knows now from her friend that he's a rogue and, you know, maybe not the best guy. But of course, they are going to be the ones who have the relationship. His name is Fritz, and her name, I think, is Annalise. But yeah, this one looks absolutely delightful, and I am in the mood for a good historical. And I've got about 3 days to finish it, so that should be absolutely fine. It is my last print or ebook for the month. I had originally planned on trying to read A Highlander Walks into a Bar, but I'm not going to get to it this month, unfortunately. Stuff, you know, has been kind of a little bit all over the place, but I do hope to put that on a TBR sooner rather than later. So, what are the rest of the books that I'm going to be reading this month? Or this week, excuse me. So, I just filmed my April TBR. I'm a little tired. It's like a 30-minute video. Sorry, cat fur on my tablet. So, my next audiobooks... My next audiobook is actually going to be The Final Deception by Heather Graham. This one is the 5th and final book in the New York Confidential series. And this one actually comes out on the 31st of March, or came out on the 31st of March. So I pre-ordered it on audio, and I'll be listening to it. And I actually am part of the blog tour for this one. So I'm very much looking forward to sharing my final thoughts of this book with you guys later this week. I will get that one started and finished this week. And then I will be starting The Darkness We Hide by Deborah Webb, which is, I think, the 2nd or 3rd book in the Undertaker's Daughter series. Another romantic suspense. So I'm starting off the month with some romantic suspense novels on audio, which is great because I absolutely love them. And both of these authors are super fantastic, and I cannot wait. So that one I will be starting, but I will not get it done by the end of Saturday. Then after I'm done reading The Most Eligible Lord in London, I will be going on to another historical romance novel, but this one is a little bit more recent history, and this is the one that you guys sort of kind of, even though I didn't put the call out, this is the one that you guys kind of voted for me to read in April. And it comes out this month. This was on my Harlequin's anticipated reads list, and it's The Flapper's Fake Fiancé by Laurie Robinson. I love Laurie Robinson so much, and I cannot wait to read this one. It takes place, of course, in the 1920s, and I am totally intrigued, and that cover is just stunning. As of filming this right now, my copy is on pre-order. For the Kindle, it comes out on April 1st. So it'll be, I'll receive my copy on Thursday, which is the day that I plan on starting this one. Thursday. Wednesday is the 1st of April. Also April Fool's Day. So I will get that one done definitely before Saturday. And then I will be starting 100 Reasons by Kelly Collins. This is the first book in the Aspen Cove series, and it is one of my Kindle Unlimited picks for the month. So looking forward to this one as well. It's a small town contemporary romance, and it looks to be absolutely delightful. So yeah, so that is all my reading plans for this week, you guys. Like I said, I am off work again this week, and I'm okay with that, to be honest. You know, if I could find a job that I could do from home and get paid to do it, I absolutely would. There's too much people outside, even before the pandemic hit. You know, and I've been saying that to Garrett. I've been like, you know, I wish I could find something that I could do from home. I wish this was more lucrative, to be honest. Not because I want to make $1 million shooting YouTube videos, but if I could make a living doing this and reviewing books, I would be a complete happy camper. The one thing, though, I wanted to kind of add is the one thing, because I've had the time, is I've actually started writing again this week. I have a small town contemporary romance, clean romance series that I've started writing. So maybe in the next few months I'll self-publish. I mean, who knows, right? Who knows what you're never too old to do any of these things, right, guys? So yeah, so that is kind of what I've been doing, but maybe I'll update you a little bit more on that on Saturday. But as I said, I'm going to be updating throughout the week. Don't think I'm going to ditch you guys until Saturday. I mean, you guys are just going to be watching this in one vlog. But, you know, I just think this will keep it a little bit shorter, because what I tended to find was when I was editing, it was like some of the days are like, yeah, no change to what I've been reading since the day before. I've read a little bit more or whatever. So it's kind of like, nah, I'll just wait until I finished a book, and then I'll update you guys on my final thoughts on the book. But of course, I will be chatty on Saturdays and today these clips will be more chatty. And it's not to say that I won't get chatty during the week either. So we will play it by ear and see exactly how this goes. So that's it, guys. I'll talk to you tomorrow, or I'll talk to you as soon as I finish a book. Definitely in the next few days. Talk to you then. Bye, guys. Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It is the 31st of March, and it's about 9:30 at night. And I am here to share with you 2 books that I have finished. The last day of the month, and I finished my last 2 books. As usual, there were some books, a lot of books on my TBR that I didn't get to this month, but that's okay. I still finished at 23 books, so that's pretty good, I'd say. It's my best month so far this year. I know we're only 3 months in, but still my best month so far. So, like I said, I had finished 2 books, but before I get into that, I thought I would share with you very quickly what has been going on here over the last little while. I've alluded to some things in my last clip on Sunday, I think, that there were some changes that were coming down the pike, or pipe. What is that phrase? There were changes coming. And they're bigger changes. And I'm excited about them. And I just thought I was going to wait till Saturday, but I thought, you know what? A lot of the stuff got dealt with today. So I thought, why not share it with you guys today? So, first of all, for those of you who might be new to my channel, I am off because of the COVID-19. I am off of work like a lot of people are, but I did not have the option to work from home. The company does not do that. They are older, old-fashioned, I want to say, and that's not a criticism per se. It's just the way the company is run. There is, you know, everything is paper, everything is done, you know, a certain way, and they just don't have the ability to have people work from home. So leading up to this, I was going to be off for about 2 weeks, which would have me going back like next Monday, this coming Monday. And I know after talking to my doctors, they're like, you know, this isn't going away in 2 weeks. So because I am extreme high risk that if I catch this, you know, virus, I could be very, very sick. So they're like, you might want to be off for a bit longer, 2 to 3 more weeks. So it's something that I've been thinking about for a while. I had a job, again, for those of you who are new, I had a job in January with a company, and it was an extreme high stress job, and I was dreading going into work every day and what have you. And then I got offered this job. I applied for and got offered this job, and I took it. And since about the 2nd or 3rd week, I have not been happy. It was better stress-wise than the other job. The stress was gone. Like it's a stress-free job in a way. I mean, I have no complaints about that at all. You know, pretty laid back in a way, not to the caliber that I was used to in my last position. But the one thing was that I am a customer service rep by trade. For 20 years, I've been a customer service rep. That's what I do. And I am damn good at what I do. And, you know, I know a lot of people don't like to pat themselves on the back, but there are certain things that if you have a talent or if you can do something really good in your job, you should be gosh darn well proud of that. And I am very proud of that fact that I am great with customers. I am great on the phone. I remember a couple years ago, me and my 2 friends, we went to Chicago, and I was in the passenger seat. We were driving there, and my phone rang, and it was some company for something or another talking to me about something. I think there was a delivery being made to the apartment. And I talked to the girl on the phone, and I got off the phone with her. And my friend Lynn, who was driving, turns to me and goes, "You really are customer service." There are some of us who just know how to talk to people and know how to deal with people. And, you know, it's a gift. It's not for everybody. Not everybody can deal with it. And I've been at this company now for 2 months, and, you know, still I don't talk to customers at all, not through email, not through phone, not through anything. In my opinion, the position itself that I came in for, even though it was labeled as customer service, is actually more of an order desk admin assistant position, which is fine if I had known that going in. So after a lot of discussion back and forth between me and my husband, today I actually quit my job, and I am ecstatic. No, I do not have another job lined up. I am currently unemployed, and I am okay with that. We have financially, we're going to be okay for at least a few months. And I am happy. I'm going to, right now, this is, sadly though, this is one of the worst times to do this because jobs are just not to be had. You know, with this whole thing and people are home and nobody's really hiring. But on the flip side, what I kept thinking about is if I was going to do it, this is the best time to do it. Because regardless, I was going to be off work for at least another 3 weeks. And I'm not getting paid because I'm not working from home. So either way, I do not have an income. So I figured, why not? We can afford for me to do it, you know, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I gave my notice of resignation today, and that's it. I am going to look for something else. And you know, once the world starts getting a bit back to normal again, then, you know, like my husband and I were saying, jobs should be flying in, no problem. I should have no problem. I will be honest, over the last 2 months, I have had 5 companies contact me for work. And I didn't leave because I kept hoping that this job that I was at was going to get better. But that wasn't the case. And yeah, I might have some news on that, on something else, maybe in another week or two. We shall see. But I will keep you guys updated on that. But for right now, I'm going to enjoy my time off. I'm going to enjoy relaxing and knitting and reading and watching BookTube. And yeah, I've never done something like this before. I have never ever, I have worked steady for 20 years. You know, I take my vacation time and all that stuff. And yes, I was off in 2018 for a month for stress leave from my old job. But other than that, I am a solid and good worker, but I think this has been a tough year. I lost Dad in January, and then, you know, switching jobs and dealing with a lot of other things with this whole pandemic that's going around. It's a scary time, and I think I just need to kind of figure out what I want to do too. I still want to deal with people. I still want to deal with customers. My dad and I were very similar that way. We talk to anybody. I can remember being in grocery lines with Dad, and he would strike up a conversation with the person behind him. You know, like that's the kind of person he was. And I'm very much the same way. So I just need to find something that fits me a little bit better, and maybe it's a career change. You know, I'm participating in Camp NaNoWriMo in April, hoping to get that novel written. I think I mentioned that in my last clip. So I'm pretty excited. So the other thing, and this is already going to be a really long clip because I'm going into all this, but I promise the rest of the week's clips will not be this long. The other exciting thing that is happening is that Garrett and I are moving. I know, right? Talk about piling all the things on at once. But like I said, Dad passed in January, and so my mom's on her own in the house that we grew up in. They had owned it for 38 years. It's paid off. And, you know, Mom was talking originally about moving, selling the house, and getting an apartment. And my brother and I thought that's a great idea, you know, much smaller for her. The house is a little bit much for her to handle, you know, for one person. It's a lot of square footage for a single person. So her and I were talking on the phone last week, and she said she had decided to keep the house because it's paid off. The only expenses she has are her monthly expenses, like your property taxes and, of course, you know, heat, water, hydro, all those fun things. But she said when she broke down the numbers, it's actually cheaper for her to stay in the house than it is to sell and get an apartment. Because currently rentals in Toronto on average for a 2-bedroom are over $2,000 a month. So it's ridiculous. And that's not even including, you know, her cell phone bill or her cable bill, or, you know, like they're going to have her pay hydro. In most new apartments that you get now, most new rentals, you are paying hydro. So she said that she had been talking to my aunt, my dad's sister, and my aunt said to her, why don't you have Sarah and Garrett move in with you? And Mom's like, that's a good idea. So she proposed it to me. She said, like, you know, we would have our own space. She has 4 bedrooms, so we could take over 2 of them, one for our bedroom, the other one kind of as a living room, if you will. The basement is completely empty right now, so Garrett can have his entire collection. He just walked by. He can have his entire collection in the basement, his 3D printer, another TV, and a couch down there, meaning I will never see him. He's very excited about this. And the other thing too, it's going to help Mom financially, because we are going to be paying her rent, of course, and we're pretty much going to be paying what we're paying here. I am not gypping her on anything. I am not trying to get a free ride, if you will. And yes, I'm going back to my childhood home, which is going to be very weird. But the other thing is, in the years to come, my mom will be 68 this year, and I just think, you know, in 5 or 10 years, she might need us there. You know, I don't like the idea of her being in that house alone. I don't like anybody being. I worry about my dad, sister, my aunt. She lives by herself, and I just think if something happened and nobody's there, that terrifies me. I think even more so now it's on my mind because of Dad. You know what I mean? So yes, we are moving in with Mom. I gave notice today to the apartment that our lease will be over as of the 31st of May. So we will be in the new place the 1st of June. And part of the exciting part about that is because Garrett's going to kind of take over the whole basement, that means that the living room, you know, bedroom upstairs is essentially going to be my book room. I'm going to have my own book room, you guys. I'm so thrilled. So yeah, so like I said, she's got 4 bedrooms. The last bedroom will be kept as a bedroom for my niece and nephew in case they decide to come over and stay over at Nana's house, essentially, right? So a lot of changes. It's kind of nice now that I've got the hiccups, that I'm going to be off because, excuse me, I'm so sorry, that was rude of me, that I can try and get some packing and stuff done. The bonus is because we're going to my mom's house, is we can start bringing stuff over like tomorrow if we wanted to, you know? Yeah, so it's exciting. It's a lot of change, but I think it's going to do us good to get out of the apartment. There's nothing wrong with apartment living at all, but it's going to be nice to be in a house. And, you know, it's not like when we were living with Garrett's parents, like Garrett and I were talking about this earlier, we felt like we were kind of had to stay in the basement, like that was like our area. Whereas at Mom's, it'll pretty much be like free reign, you know, don't worry about it. She's got a gorgeous yard and a garden and a gazebo, and it's a beautiful neighborhood. It's outside of the city. We're going to be in the suburbs again, and it'll be good for Garrett for work. And yeah, we're really, really excited about it. So I just kind of wanted to share all that with you guys because, you know, I share all the things. So I am currently unemployed and soon to be without. No, I'm sure I will get a job, no problem, as soon as stuff starts rolling back in again, and I'm looking forward to the move. So, finished 2 books today. Oh, and I left them way up there. Okay, I'll grab them in a minute. My new minis to open for this week. So, the first book that I finished today was Murder on Fifth Avenue by Victoria Thompson. This is the 14th book in the Gaslight Mystery series. So I have not read any of the previous books. I picked this one up for March Mystery Madness because you needed a book that had the word 5 or 5th in the title. And this one fit. So this is what I would consider to be sort of a cozy mystery. I say it's a cozy mystery because the hallmark of the cozy is that you have an amateur sleuth. And in a way, this does have an amateur sleuth, but she works with a New York City police officer. Or detective, excuse me. So this is actually something that takes place at the turn of the century. Sorry, I was sitting on my foot. Takes place at the turn of the century in New York City. And a very well-to-do businessman was murdered. And Sarah, who's our main character, she's the amateur sleuth. She is actually a midwife as well. She's a widow and she's a midwife. And she is kind of helping solve this murder. And it was really, really delightful. This was narrated on audio by Suzanne Torin, who also narrates the Joanna Fluke series, or the series by Joanna Fluke, the Hannah Swenson series. And I found them to be very similar. Now, I don't know whether or not that was because of the narration or whether their writing was similar. It almost felt like the characters were so quaint, and even though it took place in New York City, you know, at the turn of the century, which of course was a bustling city back then, it still had that kind of small town feel in a way, and the characters were extremely quaint. I really thought this was delightful. I ended up giving it 3.5, but I would almost push that to a 4-star. I really liked it. I mean, if you like historical mysteries, I totally recommend that you check this series out. I do plan on going back and starting at the beginning and listening to or reading the books. Because yeah, like I said, it was really delightful and I really enjoyed it. The second book that I finished today was The Most Eligible Lord in London by Ella Quinn. This is the first book in the Lords of London series, I think. A Regency romance about a girl named Adelaide and a guy by the name of Fritz. And The season before, he had left a girl. Like, he was kind of courting this girl and then decided that she wasn't the right wife for him and ended up leaving back to go to the country to look after his estates. So she thought, the girl thought that he had snubbed her. Well, now he's back in London for the season, and he runs into her again, but meets her friend Adelaide. So Adelaide isn't the girl he snubbed, it's the girl's friend. And it's their romance, and it's really cute. She is also being pursued by somebody else who is pretty much just after her for her dowry. And yeah, it was really delightful. There was a great friendship between Adelaide and the other girls, like Dory, who's the one who was snubbed, and Henrietta, and these other like delightful girls. And they're only 18. Like, it says that this is their first season, or her first season, and she's only 18. And they did read a little young, but not creepy young, because there is adult content in this book. But still, they had an innocence in a way. So yeah, so that was quite delightful. I really enjoyed this one. I really liked the writing on it. My only criticism of this book would be that I felt like you may have had to have read like all of Ella Quinn's previous series, because it seems like you were introduced to a lot of characters that you should have maybe already known, even though this is the first in a series. So I have to wonder if this is a spin-off series, if you're meeting characters from other books. It didn't necessarily take away from the story itself. I mean, the main plot you were able to follow, but you're meeting some of these other characters, and now I kind of like want to read all their stories. So in a way, I guess it's a good thing. This was the first book I think I've ever read by Ella Quinn, which is surprising because she is very prolific. And I do enjoy historical romance quite a bit. So now I will definitely have to make it a mission to pick up a lot more of her work. So yeah, so those were the two books that I finished today. Like I said, finished off the month in high style. I'm still reading my Nancy Drew book and my Harlequin bookshelf book. But yeah, tomorrow we start new books. So hold on one second. I'm going to go ahead and grab the minis to open, and I'll be right back. Sorry about that. So again, for those of you who might be new, I have a blanket that I am knitting. It's a scrap blanket, a sock yarn scrap blanket. So little bits of sock yarn I'm knitting into a blanket. And one of my goals this year was to try and get as many squares into that blanket as I possibly can, because I've been neglecting it for the past few years, and if I keep up at that pace, I will never get it done, and I want to finish it eventually. So what I decided to do was I did up these little envelopes, and I put a mini in for every book that I had on my TBR. And then as I finished the books, I opened these up, and then these are the next ones to go into my blanket. So we will start off with Murder on Fifth Avenue. And today I took the time and I sat down and I added all the minis into envelopes for the month of April. So I'm all good to go for April, and I cannot wait. And I've also got my reading journal is all up to date, and I am very, very excited to start April. So, ooh, this one's really pretty. Oh, it's the last turtle. It's the last Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, you guys. I have been putting these slowly into the blanket. I got a set of minis from a yarn dyer called She No Longer Dyes Yarn. No Makers, and she did up a set, green with each of the individual colors of each of the turtles, and then there was a fifth one in browns for Splinter. So this will be the last one to go in the blanket, and I will get at least 2 or 3 squares out of this color. But as I like to say, I don't put them in back to back to back. I just put one in, then it goes back in a baggie, and eventually I'll recycle it and I'll get back to it again. So my associate Garrett, do we know which turtle it is that I'm missing?
What color?
Blue. Rainy, do you know? Are you saying it before Garrett is?
I never watched them, so.
Okay, never mind. Rainy, you'll know, so post in the comments below. She said in my last clip she called it out before Garrett said it. Don't worry about it. Leonardo. So that's right, DiCaprio.
Yeah.
DiCaprio the turtle. So there we go. And then the other one was, of course, The Most Eligible Lord in London. So this one has obviously been through a few months because I kept scratching off once it didn't make it on my TBR from previous months. So yay, we're finally getting to whichever one this one is. This is so much fun. I really enjoy this. Ooh, this is pretty. This is another No Makers colorway. Look at that. Hold on. I'm going to focus on it. Bear with. Are you going to focus? Come on, camera. It doesn't want to focus. I think it's because of the lighting in here tonight. But you guys will see this. No, you will not see this in the blanket this weekend. You'll see it next weekend. But yeah, this is, it's kind of hard to see, but it is greens and pinks and reds and whites. And there's sparkle in it. I don't know if you can see the sparkle in it. But can you see? Yeah, there. You can catch just a little bit of the sparkle in it. I have no idea what this colorway is. This might be Mrs. Frankie, or this might be one of the Valentine's Day colorways. I don't know. I bought all of her mini sets every time she had them out because they're just delightful. Now, I will definitely get one square to this. I might be able to sneak out two. We shall see. So yeah, very, very excited about that. I think each of my minis, like each of my squares takes about 3 grams of yarn, and I believe there's 6 in here. So we shall see. The one thing I've started doing is the ones that I think might be a little too small for a square, like once I've finished knitting whatever, is they go in this bag, and then eventually I'll start pulling from here too. So I have all the sock yarn. I have tons and tons of it. So yeah, at least that's the way it feels. So there. So much longer clip. Sorry, you guys. But like I said, going forward, I probably will not be as chatty for the rest of this week unless something big happens. And if anything big happens, we want it to be good. Good things only is what we're looking for, right, guys? So, yeah, I will not update you guys again until I finish until I finish another book, which is what I'm doing in this vlog now, is just sitting down when I finished a book. But tomorrow, just an FYI, I am starting The Final Deception by Heather Graham on audio. And I'm hoping to start on audio because I pre-ordered it and it was delivered, was released today, so it should have hit my Audible account today, but for some reason, it's not. It shows order pending even though I paid for it with a credit. And I even talked to them at Audible and they're like, yeah, that's weird. So they said it just might be a delay and that I should see it by like tomorrow morning. And if not, I'm to call them back. So let's hope that they can get it all straightened out because I'd really like to listen to that. And I mean, I have a membership with audible.ca because it's actually cheaper for me because it's still $14.95 a month for a credit, but it's in Canadian dollars as opposed to US dollars. But I do still have the Audible Escape package through audible.com. So I have like kind of a membership in both in a way. And because they don't have the Escape package yet available through audible.ca. So anyway, I could go, because the thing is I can't even, they even tried to refund my credit and then said, okay, go ahead and try and buy it now, but it still says that it's in my library even though it's not. So it's very weird, but I did a Google search on it and it seems like people have been having this problem since the beginning of the month. So clearly it's not just me. So like I said, I would hate to actually have to go and purchase it, but I really want to listen to it. So we shall see how that all pans out. But anyway, I will keep you guys updated on that. And my ebook that I plan on starting tomorrow is The Flapper's Fake Fiancé by Laurie Robinson, which I am totally stoked about and cannot wait to read it. And yeah, I will update you guys on those when I get them done. So I'll talk to you then. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. Happy Friday. It is the 3rd of April. I know it's been a few days since I've talked to you. So quick question. Do you guys want me to continue doing this where I only wrap up when I finished a book? Or do you want me to go back to how I was doing it before where I kind of do a little clip every day? My thing is that, you know, for multiple days in a row, I'm pretty much reading the same thing, so I really don't have much to report. So let me know your thoughts, or whatever. And yeah, I mean, like, you know, I'm good either way. I just did not want these ridiculously, you know, like, I try and keep the vlogs shorter, but that's not always the way it works. And, you know, I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm good either way. It does not bother me. I am happy to do whatever. So, Friday night, not that it matters from any other night this week, or it has been for the last few weeks. You know, glad it's the weekend. Even though, again, I haven't done much this week. It's been relatively quiet. I did have a doctor's appointment on Wednesday morning, but I did not have to go anywhere, which was kind of brilliant. It was a follow-up appointment with my EP cardiologist. He deals primarily with the electrical function of the heart. So he's the gentleman who did the procedure in January for my tachycardia and atrial flutter and all that fun jazz, where my heart was not beating correctly, in the correct rhythm, let's put it that way. So it was just, like I said, it was a 2-month follow-up, essentially, like, how are you doing? So originally I had the appointment booked to go downtown, of course, to his office to see him for the appointment. And of course, the hospital called me last week and they said, because of the COVID-19 outbreak, we're not having any non-essential appointments. So she says, would you be willing to do it online, like a Skype call kind of an idea? Sorry, Garrett's beside me munching on ice cream, if you can hear that in the background. He's enjoying his ice cream. So anyway, I'm sitting here freezing and he's eating ice cream. Go figure. So I said, yeah, sure, absolutely, that sounds great. So it was literally a 5-minute long appointment. I'm not kidding. And it was like, how are you feeling? How are you doing? How is the medication working? How did your leg, like the incision, heal and all those things? And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing great. I feel good. And, we had a discussion because they were not able to completely, they call it mapping the heart. They weren't able to completely get rid of some of the tachycardia. They were able to put me in that rhythm, but they couldn't get me back out of it. They couldn't do what, I don't know, it's medical, and I was asleep for the whole thing. So, well, for most of it. So, he said that might reoccur. Chances are it probably will, but they're keeping me on the meds that I'm on, and hopefully that will keep it at bay. If we can get another 3 or 4 or 5 years before I have to have this again, that would be fantastic, because I got 5 years the last time. So, before I have to take her back in for an oil change, essentially. As I like to joke, it's preventative maintenance. So, anyway, yeah, so I had that, and then he says to me, he was asking when I'm due back down at the hospital to see my congenital cardiologist, and I said, well, that wouldn't be until June. And he said, no, that's too soon. He goes, I don't need to see you that soon. So it's like 6 months. So he says, would you mind doing this again, like just the video conferencing? I'm like, yes, please, because you are saving me a drive all the way downtown and me having to pay like $20 to park outside the hospital for a 10-minute appointment. So I'm very, very happy with that. He said that we will just continue doing these video appointments unless we can book an appointment at the same time I have to be down to see another doctor, or knock on wood, hopefully this won't be the case, but unless it comes back, I have a reoccurrence of the arrhythmia. So yeah, so that was the big thing that happened this week. I mean, other than what I've already discussed with you guys in a previous clip about, me quitting my job and all that jazz. So yeah, so that's about it. So I am here today to update the fact that I finished a book today. This morning I finally finished reading, not finally, I started it on the 1st, but I did finish reading The Final Deception by Heather Graham. I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. It is the final book in the New York Confidential series, which is a series, I think, like I said, this is the 5th and final book, so there's 5 books in total, duh. And it follows the same 2 characters. So these 2 characters, Kiernan and Craig, meet in the first book, and then all the rest of the books are kind of like different cases that they are on. So you don't necessarily have to have read the previous ones before, because it's not like it's one case that builds off another. They're all separate individual cases. They allude to the fact, like in the first one, it was a jewelry heist and things like that. This one was about a guy, very religious, like off-sect religious, kind of cultish gentleman who was hearing voices telling him to kill people. And he believed that he wasn't killing good people, he was killing people who were bad. So, he was doing a service, essentially, and he didn't see there was anything wrong with that. They called him the fireman because he would set the bodies on fire. But yeah, it was good. It did keep me guessing the whole way through as to the whodunit. And it was a nice wrap up to the series, I have to say, at the very end. But a part of me is like, well, now I want to read more, like I want more cases with these two characters, because he's an FBI agent and she is a psychologist. Yeah, she's a psychologist. So, it was really, really good. And most of it centers around her family's pub in lower Manhattan called Finnegan's. And there is another offshot series of this one called The Finnegan Connection, I think, which also deals with some of these characters. So it's really fun. And, much like, other things that take place in New York, like Law and Order, because I've been binge watching Law and Order because I have all 20 seasons on DVD. So, the city itself almost becomes another character. And Heather Graham is so great at delving into the history of the location of wherever the book is that takes place. So you do learn some like facts and tidbits and stuff like that about New York City. It's very cool. I recommend this series. Unlike The Crew of Hunters, which deals more with a paranormal investigations team, this is very much a police procedural type of a novel. But yeah, still really enjoyable. So of course, I am going to, sorry for me reaching, open up my next mini, or my first mini for April. Excuse me. I'm not sick, I assure you. The Final Deception written right here. I got these new envelopes that actually have the sticky on the back. I splurged at Walmart and bought them instead of getting them from the dollar store. So let's try and open this one-handed and see if we can do it. Yep. It's not the best sticky on the back, but it does the job. And we have in here, ooh, pretty. Ooh, let's see this one. It's red and black. Oh, that's really showing up bright. It's not that bright in my hand. This is from a company called Toil and Trouble. And the colorway is from Game of Thrones. I've never watched Game of Thrones. Melisandre. Melisandre, I guess. I don't know, but it's a Game of Thrones inspired colorway. So yeah, so that will go into the blanket this weekend as well. So yeah, another clip tomorrow, of course, because it's Saturday. I have 2 books that I will be finishing tomorrow. The Nancy Drew book I'm currently reading, and Man of the Hour by Patricia Kay. Sorry, it's just over there, so I was just looking at the title to make sure I got it right, which is the one off of my Harlequin shelf. And I'm also hoping to get done The Flapper's Fake Fiancé tomorrow as well by Laurie Robinson. I was hoping to finish that one today, but that didn't happen. I kind of had a bit of a lazy day, like even reading wise. I've just been kind of like I said, I've been binge watching Law and Order, and I'm hearing that from a lot of people that, you know, as much as we want to do reading, TV just seems to be kind of taking a lot of stuff, right? And plus, I have been casting on like all the knitting projects this week. I have currently started a scarf. I have started a hat. And I have cast another sweater on. So yeah, I have a problem. But I will show you some of those items tomorrow, I think. Maybe not all of them. Maybe all of them. I don't know yet. We'll see. But yeah, I will have updates tomorrow as well for the other books I plan on finishing. So I'll talk to you guys then. And do, again, like I said, let me know if you still want daily clips or if you want me just to do it this way. Again, I am completely okay with it, but just do keep in mind, you guys know if you've been watching my vlogs, I can be boring because I do not do much, and there's not much to be done right now either. Like, it's not like we can go anywhere or do anything. So, plus, you know, we're gonna be spending some time very shortly packing and starting to get ready to move. So that's something else coming up in the next few months. But anyway, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Hi, everybody. It is the 4th of April. It's Saturday, and it is about 11:30 at night. So yes, I am finally sitting down to chat with you guys just before it actually becomes Sunday. So a lot of reading got done today. I actually finished 3 books today, you guys. 3. Now, granted, you know, all 3 of them, of course, I had already started. And the one thing I totally forgot to mention, because I haven't been vlogging every day, is that I am a co-host. You probably saw my videos earlier this week for the romance takeover buddy read this weekend. So of the 4 books I have finished since yesterday, because I finished one yesterday, 3 of them have been romance novels. One of them was a Back to My Childhood book, and Nancy Drew, a little bit of romance in there, so maybe we can count it. But yeah, that is happening. So before I completely forget to mention it, on Monday on Chloe's channel, which is always booked, I am going to be participating in a live show talking about, you know, what I read this weekend with all the other ladies that participated. It's going to be an absolute blast. Please click the link in the description box below to go to Chloe's channel. And don't forget to subscribe. And do come and please chat with us on Monday. I think it's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 8 o'clock at night for me. So yeah, definitely please do come and join us. So that being said, let me jump into what I finished reading today. And then I'm going to open my minis, and then I'm going to show you guys my knitting, and I'll talk about my knitting, what's been going on with my knitting over the last week or so after. My back has really been bugging me today, you guys. And I realized tonight, I'm like, why does it hurt? Oh yeah, because I've been doing nothing but sitting around. I said to Garrett tonight, I said, we need to start getting out and moving because we're just at home. So, you know, nobody's saying we can't go outside and take a walk around the block. So I need to start doing that, and I need to start doing yoga again. So I just found a playlist online on YouTube for a 30-day yoga, like beginner's yoga. And I mean, I've been doing yoga for years and years and years, but it's always nice to kind of go back to the basics again and refresh yourself if you haven't done it in a while. So yeah, so sorry, that was just a side little note, just because my back's kind of bugging me right now, but it's the muscles are tight is what it is, and sitting all day is not helping. So on to the books. So the first book that I finished today was Man of the Hour. I have it right up here. Sorry for turning around and reaching. Man of the Hour by Patricia Kay. This one I ended up giving, I think it was 4 stars too. And I really enjoyed it. It was a really cute story. This is the second book in the March series. It's just called The March. And it's about 2 women who, they're sort of kind of not really related. I don't want to get into it because it is kind of a major plot line to the first book, which is called Secrets in a Small Town by the same author. Recommend that you try that one, like read that one first maybe. I have not read that one yet. I will go back and read it now, but it'd be kind of nice to see where these characters came from. But in this story, it's about Glynis and what was his name? I finished 3 books today, you guys. Names are escaping me right now. Dan. Glynis and Dan. And she has about 6 or 7-year-old son and about a 3-year-old daughter. And as the book opens up, it's about just after Thanksgiving, so it's not, you know, like American Thanksgiving, so late November, early December. And she's in the mall doing some Christmas shopping with her kids. And she is in a store, and she turns her back for just a second, and that's all it takes. And her daughter is kidnapped. So, not at all where I originally thought that this was going. Like, when I saw the cover, I thought, oh, it's a cute little contemporary about a single mom. But no, it does involve a kidnapping. And I mean, right on the back it says kidnapped. But I don't typically really read the backs of the books if I can at all avoid it. So anyway, her daughter's kidnapped. And Dan is the chief of police in this small town in, I think it's Ohio. Because I think the major city might be Cleveland. It is Ohio. Or Cincinnati. Something. Anyway, it's Ohio. There is a little map in the front that they give you to show you about where this fake small town is located. So he is the chief, or he is a police officer. So he is called in to help search for her daughter. And over the course of the novel, I mean, spoiler alert, the girl is found relatively quickly before the halfway point of the book. So then the rest of the book is their relationship with each other. And I really, really enjoyed it. This was a very slow burn romance. Like I said, the book opens up when they meet, when the daughter's kidnapped, which is in like early December. And things progress over into February. So it's months that the two of these people kind of dance around each other, if you will. And they both have issues that they're dealing with. And yeah, it was really, really good. I enjoyed it a great deal, and I recommend it. There is some adult content in here, but it was like all behind closed doors. And like I said, extremely slow burn. So it was like the second or third last chapter. So, I always do appreciate that. When it's more about the emotional relationship, especially with the fact that she's a single mom and he's kind of, like I said, dealing with his own kind of family tragedy that happened many years earlier. Really, really good. Highly recommend. But like I said, if you can pick up Secrets in a Small Town first, maybe read that one to get the backstory to this character, Glynis. But you don't absolutely have to. So really, really enjoyable. Because, I mean, obviously you don't have to, because I didn't. And I still really enjoyed it. And sorry, Gorn is scratching away on the couch, as they do when I sit down to do a video. So that was the first book that I finished today. The next book that I finished right at dinner time, because I tend to read this book or these books right around my dinner or whenever I'm eating, because it's a quick, easy read while I'm snacking, eating away. I don't know. I've always been like that. Every time I've sat down for a meal, I mean, not if we're out somewhere fancy or we're out to dinner or something like that, but if I'm at home, I always have a book that I'm reading when I'm eating. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, or maybe that's a thing. But anyway, I finished Whitewater Terror by Carolyn Keene. I think this was book 6 in the Nancy Drew Case File series. So in this book, George, which is one of Nancy's best friend, George and Bess, and George and Bess. Sorry guys, the camera's sitting very, like just kind of sitting where it's sitting right now, and it's not sitting straight, so that's why it fell over. Sorry about that. So anyway, George and Bess are cousins to each other, and George is very athletic, and Bess is very much a tomboy. And then, of course, you've got Nancy. And George, at the very beginning of this book, wins a all expenses paid trip for her and 3 friends to go whitewater rafting in Montana. So she's super excited. She won some contest where you like put a ballot in at like the checkout. We've all seen them. And she's like, I don't remember entering a contest, but you know, you do it all the time. So I must have just forgotten that I'd done it. So, you know, she convinces Nancy and Bess and Nancy's boyfriend Ned to join her for this whitewater rafting expedition. And of course, right from the get-go, before they even arrive, clearly Nancy's life is in danger. She's given an incorrect map that takes them down a wrong turn that almost goes over a cliff. You know, during the whitewater rafting thing, one of the rafts are destroyed. They end up getting lost in the woods. Goran's crying. You know, all these things happen. It was really cute. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. It was an interesting enough mystery. You kind of have it figured out already. But the reason as to why I found very anticlimactic because you're given the reason, and I'm assuming maybe it was an old book, like a previous book, but there wasn't a lot of buildup as to what it could have been. I don't know. It's very hard to describe, but it's like it's revealed at the end as to why all these things were happening and why Nancy was being targeted. But it just didn't seem like a good enough reason because you're just suddenly told the reason and there's no backstory to the reason. Let's put it that way. Like, you know, there's no gradual build up to the reason. It's just kind of explained like, oh, okay, I understand why someone was trying to kill her, but I understand why someone was a little miffed off at her or annoyed at her for whatever it was. But they didn't build it up throughout the book. Let's put it that way. Which I think if they had, yes, you may have found out the mystery earlier, but it would have, if you hadn't, it would have been more bang for your buck, essentially. So yeah, I didn't hate it. I enjoyed reading it. It was fun, campy, 1980s. Nancy Drew, you know, that girl has about a gazillion lives because at the end of every single chapter, she's in peril for some reason. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. And then the last book that I finished, speaking of books I really enjoyed, was The Flapper's Fake Fiancé by Laurie Robinson. This is book 1 in the Daughters of the 1920 series, I think is what it's called. And I ended up giving this one 4 stars, bordering on 4.5 stars, but not quite. I do adore Laurie Robinson, who wrote this. She is a favorite of mine. I have not yet been disappointed by one of her books. So this is the story of Patsy. And Patsy is the youngest of 3 sisters. There is Betty is the oldest, and Jane, the middle sister, and then Patsy's the youngest. And they live in a very strict household. Their father controls pretty much everything in their lives. You know, they are all, as soon as they were done school, they are now working at home. They do the cooking and the cleaning and the, you know, this and that and the other thing. And they're only allowed to dress a certain way. They're not allowed to listen to certain music. They're not allowed to go out with certain, you know, they have to stay in the house all the time unless they're going to church or to the store or something like that. And it takes place in Hollywood, actually, just out, well, in like the Los Angeles, the Hollywood Hills, it sounds like. And the dad has a lot of money. He's very, very well to do because they owned a plot of land, like this huge acreages, like many, many, many acres of land. And he's been building these huge homes on it, like homes for like movie stars and stuff like that. So he has a lot of money, but they're new money, essentially. And he is trying to marry all 3 of the daughters off because he wants to marry them to wealthy men because he doesn't want those men taking his money, like, you know, like a dowry kind of an idea. But all 3 sisters are trying to like get out from underneath their father's thumb, essentially. And they all have kind of their own dreams. And Patsy, our main character in this story, wants to be a reporter. She really, really wants to be a reporter. She thinks that's going to be her ticket out of her father's house. She can make her own money. She can be her own person. She can, you know, be a single woman and be happy and have a job. And I loved her, absolutely loved her. She had a lot of spunk. And so at night, the sisters actually go out to speakeasies and as flappers, and, you know, they kind of paint the town red, if you will, and dance and They don't really drink because they do say in the book that a lot of the alcohol and a lot of these speakeasies are stuff that would probably end up killing you if you, were to drink it a lot more often. Speaking of, excuse me, sorry. Tickle in my throat. So, piece of ice. Sorry. These are unedited, you guys. You know that. So anyway, she finds out about this convict who escaped. And she decides she's going to write an article about this convict. And, that's going to be her big ticket into being a reporter. So when the book opens up, she meets up with Lane, who is the editor for the Gazette, which is like the largest paper in the Los Angeles, Hollywood area. And she'd been writing articles for his paper and sending them in, but they've always been rejected. So she has a fake name that she uses when they go to these speakeasies because she doesn't want anybody to know who she actually is. And then Lane invites her to this party for this Hollywood mogul kind of guy, a movie star. And while she's there, she gets recognized by somebody. And then the rumor starts that Lane, of course, is her fiance, and the story goes from there. So it's their romance, plus it's this mystery about this escaped convict, which was a lot of fun. It was Hollywood in the 1920s. I mean, the setting of it was just darling. I really, really loved it. If I have one criticism of the book, it was the fact that slang was used so much. At the very beginning of the book, when you start it, the author gives you a little directory of the slang term and what it actually means, which at first I thought, okay, that's kind of cute. And then as I started reading the book, I realized why she did it is because of how much slang is used. And it's a little overused, in my opinion. The occasional word thrown in here and there would have been really, really fun. But it's like every time Patsy opened her mouth. And it was just a little much. And I didn't absolutely love that of it. But you kind of start to get used to it as you're reading the book. It's just a little jarring at the very beginning. At least that's what I found for the first 2 or 3 chapters. So yeah, but still really enjoyable. 4 stars, bordering on 4.5 stars. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. And again, I'm a huge fan of this author. So if you are interested in a historical set in the 1920s, I absolutely recommend this one for sure. So let me open my, my little mini yarns here, and then I will show you guys my knitting. So first of all, for Man of the Hour, so much easier to do two-handed. Oh, I have a feather. This was part of a set that she did. This is from No Makers, part of the Christmas set. I believe this is part of the Christmas set. I can't remember why there was a feather on this one, but I don't remember what this yarn was. If anybody remembers No Makers and you remember why, let me know. I might have to look it up. But yeah, so I have a little feather. I'll probably put on a toy for the cats when I go ahead and wind this one up. It kind of looks like something that you take fishing, right? But the colors in the yarn themselves are really pretty. Maybe it wasn't for, maybe it was Halloween. I can't remember. I honestly cannot remember, sorry. I just finished doing a chat with 2 of my best friends, Mandy and Brandy. And so I've been talking for the last couple hours, so my voice is kind of starting to go. So next up we have White Water Terror, the Nancy Drew book. Open this one up. What do we got in here? Ooh, I believe this is another No Makers yarn. Ooh, that's pretty. I like the purples and I like pink and gray together. It's one of my favorite color combinations. Yeah, that's really, really pretty. So these ones I will probably maybe only get 1 out of maybe 2. Maybe, I'm hoping. We'll see. We'll see when it comes time to add the yarns into the blanket. And last but not least, the Flapper's Fake Fiance. Next time I record, I gotta make sure the camera is sitting a little bit better. I actually ended up accidentally breaking the tripod that I had, which is why it's kind of leaning precariously up against like my pencil holder. But yeah, I need to get a new, what do you call it? Tripod. So this last one is already wound. This one, I have some of this already in the blanket, but that's okay. This is called 1960s Kitchen, and I cannot remember the name of the yarn dyer. I bought this about 4 or 5 years ago at my first Rhinebeck New York Sheep and Wool, the full-size skein. I have a pair of socks in this colorway. So the leftovers I wound up into minis. Some were given to my friends. The leftovers went back into my stash of minis. and I'm slowly adding those back into the blanket as well. So there will be overlap on colors in the blanket, and I've said that before, but I really don't care. It's just about getting squares in it. It's a scrap blanket. It's meant to be, you know, whatever. So yeah, so those are 3 really, really fun colors. I love them. So speaking of knitting, I decided this week to cast on everything. I don't know why. This week, so I already had a pair of socks, a pair of fingerless mitts, a sweater, and a shawl on the needles. This week I cast on another sweater. I cast on a hat, and I've cast on a scarf. Cause why not? So I found an app online that you like do like a spinning wheel. Like, you know, you press it, it spins, and then it lands on something. And you could put what you want on each spoke of the wheel or whatever. So I wrote down all the knitting projects I have except for my socks and my blanket, because my socks and blanket are kind of, you know, those are, you know, I knit on the socks every day. I usually put a ½ inch to an inch on the socks every day, and then the blanket gets done, you know, on a weekly basis. But everything else I put on that wheel. So every day I've just been kind of get up in the morning, and when I'm ready to knit, I press that, and whatever it lands on is what I'm going to knit on that day. Yes, I know, it's totally weird. My friend Mandy gave me the idea because she's got like 8 sweaters on the needles right now. So that's how she decides what sweater to knit on every day. So I'm not going to show you guys everything because some of the stuff is just a tiny, tiny bit of work. So what I think I'm going to do though is if I knit on something for more than a single day this week, like if something comes up twice, then I will show it to you on the Saturday. But, you know, if I only knit on it for like a day or like a couple hours, I'm not going to bother. So that being said, oh, I need to get the blanket out because I need to show you that too. So let me just throw this stuff down here. And let me get out the blanket to show you guys. It's getting almost too big for this bag. So I'm going to have to get a bigger bag for this, I think. So this is my sock yarn blanket. I think I showed you guys this earlier in the week, very, very briefly. So I put 7 squares in last week. So that's the last one that you guys saw, is this kind of grayish one. So I put this multicolored one in, this blue one, this brown one, this Halloween colored one. It looks pink, but it's actually oranges. This pink one, speaking of pink, the purple one, and the Ninja Turtle one, which it isn't Christmas, it's a Ninja Turtle one. So yeah, so another 7 into the blanket. I think I have 420. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Yeah, 420 squares now in the blanket. It is quite huge. And yeah, I'm still really enjoying knitting on it. I love it. I'm putting so many squares into it this year. This was, you know, not to pat myself on the back, but doing these minis every time I finish a book is really helping move this blanket along a lot faster. So eventually at some point we will have a beautiful blanket to put on our bed, because that's the end goal. So that's the blanket. Let me put that down there. I'll fold it back up and put it, whoops, back in the bag as soon as I can. So excuse me for reaching. So let me grab these two as well so I don't have to keep leaning over. Okay, so first of all, the socks, which you guys have already seen. The other 2 projects I believe are both new, so you're going to see 2 newer things today. But the socks, are these the socks? Yes, they are. So these are my Rainbow Warrior socks, as I call them, because that's the name of the colorway, or my Atlantic Current Rainbow. The pattern that I'm using for these socks is the Atlantic Current pattern. It is a paid-for pattern on Ravelry, but it's super duper easy. It looks very impressive, especially with this highly variegated yarn. So it's just a series of slip stitches as you're knitting the sock. So that's where I was last Saturday when I showed you, and I've gotten this done, including putting the heel in. So yeah, so I'm moving along on these quite nicely, and I'm looking forward to getting them done. I absolutely love them. Again, this pattern works amazingly well. It was made for this, you know, highly variegated yarn, because these slip stitches just look amazing, and I absolutely love it, love it, love it. From this, now I can see it almost like pooling or striping. You can see it looks a little bit more yellow to a little bit more blue to a little bit more yellow to blue. Can you see that? So it's just the way the yarn's knitting up. But yeah, so then there's the bottom of the foot. And then this pattern, now that I'm starting on the leg, this will go all the way around the leg now. Like, it obviously wouldn't go on the bottom of your foot, but yeah. So again, paid for pattern, but I'll be honest and say I think the pattern might be a little bit overpriced considering how simple the pattern actually is. But if you know anything about knitting and doing slip stitches, you could probably figure it out. But I'm not going to give anything away, of course, because it's proprietary to the designer. But I think she does have a heel in there that's kind of new. I have a partridge heel, which I've never done. I do the one heel, which is the Fish Lips Kiss heel, and it's my favorite. So yeah. So anyway, there's my socks. Another new thing that I've cast on, but you guys have kind of in a way seen it before. If you've been watching me for a while, you know last year I knit this huge shawl in 3 different colors, and I loved it. It was in like a blue to a multicolor to a purple. So I've tried wearing it a couple times over the course of the winter, but it's just too much. It's the way it's shaped. It was like a triangle shape to it, and it was very difficult to actually wear because of how thick it was too. And I thought I just wanted just a scarf. In that yarn, I just wanted a plain, old, boring scarf. So I actually ended up tearing that entire thing out this week. I did that, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday, and I cast on just a plain scarf. This is a free pattern on Ravelry for any of you who are out there watching and you are you're a new knitter or you want to learn how to knit. I highly recommend checking out the Simple Collection from Tin Can Knits. I will leave it linked below. They have a scarf, mittens, hat, a cardigan and a pullover, a pair of socks. There might be 2 other things. I cannot remember what they would be. Maybe a cowl and maybe something else. I've knit the hat, which is the barley hat, like a dozen times. My dad got about 3 of them, like for various Christmases when I first started knitting. My brother's gotten a couple. I've knit a couple for myself. I've knit both the sweaters, the harvest and the flax. But this is the first time I've ever knit the scarf, which is called Wheat. And again, it's a free pattern, so I can totally tell you all about it. This is the yarn that I'm using. And so essentially all you're doing is knitting back and forth. You cast on and you knit back and forth for 3 inches, which is what I did here. And then you can probably see that that's a little bit different. So then you knit like 16 stitches, put a stitch marker in. You can see my little stitch marker right there. Oops, it's gonna fall over. And then for like 14 stitches, you do knit 1, purl 1 all the way across, put another stitch marker in so you know you're at the end, and then knit 5 stitches, and then you're at the end of the row, and then you turn it. You knit your 5 stitches, you knit your ribbing, which is what that is. The knit and purl is ribbing. And then you knit back across again, and you keep doing that until you're at 6 feet, like the length of the scarf, or however long you want the scarf. So just to make it a little bit more interesting for me, I'm actually going to fade the colors into each other, much like that big shawl was. So when I get to a certain point at this, when I get to about 18 or 19 inches, because I think the pattern calls for it to be 60 inches in total. So when I get to like 19 inches, I'll start going like 2 rows in this color, and then 2 rows in this color, and then vice versa. And then eventually get rid of this color and completely transition to this color, and then to this one. So the scarf is going to be 3 colored, and I think it's going to look really, really awesome, and I'm super excited about it. But yeah, so simple pattern. If you are a newbie knitter or you want to learn how to knit, absolutely do this. You would not have to do 60 inches, which seems like it's gonna, like, I think I did this in an hour. It does not take long at all. And yeah, I am really, really happy with it. So I'm enjoying that. I especially when I'm sitting listening to an audiobook or something, it's kind of nice just to have like that very basic knit. Or this one I've even been knitting on, I think yesterday on Friday. I had my ebook on my knee and I was knitting across on this, and just with the ebook you just have to tap it to change the page, and it's fantastic. And then the last thing, I believe this is the hat. I did cast on a hat today, this week. I was in the mood to, because my friend Andrea showed this yarn that she has, and I said, oh, that's really, really pretty yarn. And my friend Mandy says, yeah, you have a skein of it that she gave me when we were at Rhinebeck last year. So this is the yarn, and I think it's called Hayride. And isn't that gorgeous? And it is from a company called, it's Fiber Stash. Our friend Christy from Fiber Stash dyes this yarn, and it's a bit thicker. I love a squishy DK weight yarn. It's so pretty. So the hat that I'm doing, I do not have much done other than the brim, so it's kind of boring looking, but that's what I have so far. It's going to be cabled, like there's going to be like a cabled hat, so it's going to be very, very cool. And I'm using very small circular needles, like the diameter is very small. So I literally just have to knit around and around and around on this. And yeah, so I am super happy about this. I'll try and get some more work done on this next week because there will be a cable pattern. I don't know how well it's going to show up with how variegated this yarn is, like how many different colors are in it, but we shall see when we get there. So yeah, so there's just a taste of my knitting from this week, you guys. Oh, actually, I have the pattern right here. I wonder if it'll show, because it's a black and white picture. I don't want to show you guys the pattern because it's a paid for pattern. The hat itself, I'll leave it linked in the description box below. The hat is called Caramel Brulee. You really can't see it that well. Maybe you can a little bit in the light. There's some like cabling here, and I love the gigantic pom-pom. And the last, I just have to share with you guys the last direction in the pattern because it's just delightful. That's the abbreviations to page 3. So you do all that, and then it says, darting needle, draw through, okay, weave in all ends and block gently, and then it says, find the biggest pom-pom you can and attach it firmly by seaming. I love a big pom-pom. I think that's awesome. And I know my friend Andrea learned how to make them using like fake fur that you buy at like a Joann's or I know Michael's doesn't sell fabric and stuff, but like a fabric type store. So Fabric Land up here, I don't know if we sell it up here, but maybe once this whole COVID-19 thing goes away, I can go to one of those and get some and look up the tutorials that Andrea has and learn how to make big fuzzy pom-poms for my hats, because that would just be awesome. But yeah, and this is in my awesome frog bag. So that's all I have. How long? Holy cow, this was a half an hour, you guys. So sorry. Probably made up for the fact that I did not vlog very much this week. But again, as I asked in a previous clip, you know, do you guys want me to do this, like do daily clips? Or the other thing I was thinking, because, you know, of me sitting here doing the knitting at the end of this vlog, what I was thinking about doing was, because I know everybody does like a Friday reads, which are fine, but, and I used to do it too, and I love them, and I love watching them. But because I do the vlogs, I think the Friday reads are kind of overkill. What I was kind of thinking about this week was on Friday nights, maybe sitting down and doing like a Friday night knit night. Like I'll call it like Friday knit night or something like that. And I will sit down and do this whole knitting thing and show you guys all the knitting stuff. And, you know, so it's like a separate video, even though it's still on my BookTube channel, it's just like a separate knitting related video. I would open up all the minis for the week and show you guys the blanket. And that way, those of you who don't care about the knitting can just totally, you know, bypass the video entirely. Or I don't know. Let me know. What do you guys think? I kind of think it'd be fun to do. Yeah. So anyway, that's all I got, you guys. And I'll talk to you all in my next video. Take care and happy reading, everybody. Oh, and I hope to see you on Monday for the live show. I'll see you then. Bye.